What do Switzerland and New Zealand have in common? Although Switzerland and New Zealand have differences in terms of language, location, climate, population, living conditions, form of government, culture and the like, both countries have a very successful economic environment in common. On the one hand, this creates the best conditions for further development of consciousness, but on the other hand, it also prevents exactly that, because the earthly consciousness part collectively is already doing quite well, but by no means really well yet. The old age knows only the previous standard and measures development by prosperity. It misses nothing because it cannot imagine more than it knows so far. An example of this was the corona pandemic. The old age had been exposed to this largely helplessly and held this for normal. As long as the material level of development is regarded as the highest, accordingly solutions could be achieved only on this. From its consciousness the world had only been able to react with demarcation, in particular in the form of masks, lockdowns and vaccinations. Thus, all three earlier creation possibilities of the higher awareness levels were given away, which would not have let the pandemic develop in the first place to this extent. The corona pandemic existed only because merely on the lowest of four awareness layers was reacted after 3/4 of the creation possibilities were missed out. The world does not even use a quarter of its potential, because the knowledge of the complete transcendental consciousness leads additionally to a synergetic effect, which is multiplied again through the application of the universal laws. Especially countries like Switzerland and New Zealand is therefore highly recommended not to rest on their quite comfortable earthly state, but to use the chance to multiply their consciousness abilities. As an introduction, I recommend Musubi World Healing, the Bible, Holy Scripture of the New Age, to familiarize oneself with the structure of the complete transcendental consciousness. The new fairy tales, also contained in Musubi World Healing, the Bible, Holy Scripture of the New Age, are addressed to adults and children, and thus intuitively support the development of the next generation right from the start. On April 15, 2021, the New Age has begun. The world consciousness has changed to the weiblichen spirituellen System, female spiritual system. Now the possibilities of each country depend on how quickly it is able to adapt and seize its opportunity. In the long run, Musubi will lead all countries to the higher level of consciousness. From Berlin, the Germany-wide changes are already beginning, because the new consciousness spreads in a snowball system.